Oh boy.
It is real here. You guys, I'm here with Roger Clyne. The Peacemakers are not with him, but that's a whole nother thing we'll do. But thanks for hanging out with us on the Eclectic Mix with Steve on Radio Sunnyside, 101.5 in Flagstaff, and streaming everywhere at radiosunnyside.org.
No pressure. A placer es mío, Steve, or is mío. All good.
What's that?
I said, a placer es mío. It's my pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Very good. Hey, man, I've lived in Arizona for like 20 years and have heard your name here and there, everywhere. And I just want to make sure everybody knows who Roger Clyne is. And I know you're coming to Flag next Saturday to the last hurrah for the brouhaha.
Brouhaha.
Yeah.
We allowed to drink beer on this show? It is a beer fest, right?
I think so. You know, it is almost 1 o'clock for Pete's sakes.
It's also Saturday.
So tell everybody who Roger Clyne is and what to expect.
Oh, that's your job. Come on. I'm going to do your job. All right.
Well, no, I'm going to start there and then we'll dig in.
The whole story is TBD. Oh, there's my coffee maker. That big buzz is my coffee maker turning off. Yeah. I'm a slave to that thing. Let's see. I was mostly introduced to, well, I'm an Arizona native, third generation, son of a rancher, still working ranch in Southeast Arizona. Awesome. Went to college and graduated at ASU. While I was there at the time, I founded a band called The Mortals, which morphed into a band called The Refreshments, which got a record deal in the mid-90s. And we put out 2 records, Fizzy Fuzzy Big and Buzzy, and The Bottle and Fresh Horses on Mercury Records, after we put out our first indie called Wheelie. Anyway, we toured around, had a big ball for 3 or 4 years. And then that band, like a lot of bands that are kept on record labels, had some trouble with the powers that be. We ended up breaking up. But the drummer, who's PH Nafa, good friend and still partner of mine in the Peacemakers, founded the Refreshments in 1998 and have been touring nationwide and internationally ever since as another independent rock and roll band. We have a festival in Rocky Point, Mexico, well, twice a year, a small one in January called January Jam, and a larger one that will turn 25 years old in June of this year called Circus Mexicus. We're going to produce and put out our 11th studio record, I believe, sometime this year. And that's as far as we've gotten so far.
So you hit on a lot of questions that I had, but just since you talked about producing in a new album, do you produce or do you have somebody come in and kind of help guide the process? Because I know producer can definitely change the sound of bands. What are your thoughts on that? What do you do?
My thoughts are, we do. I like to have a producer. We have a few self-produced records, but I can't remember what they are. Got a long body of work, but just to look back at the last record, which was Native Heart, we hired a guy named Steve Berlin, who's the horn player in Los Lobos. And he came into our pre-production in Arizona and listened to our songs actually and challenged us to grow beyond what our normal boundaries were. And that's what a producer should do, make you feel excited if uncomfortable. And so, yes, I like working with producers. We don't have a nominee as of yet for the next one, but we're talking about it.
Okay, so you got tunes ready to go?
Pardon?
You got tunes ready to go?
We do. I always want more than we have, in case some of them don't make the cut or somehow not cohesive with the body of or the album. But I'm kind of a vintage dude, and I like creating albums, which are
totally
sort of portraits, in time of what a band was doing, thinking, acting, hoping, etc. I've been encouraged to update my thinking a little bit and do an EP. I'm not sure I can coalesce with that idea, but everything's on the table. So hopefully I do have enough tunes. I'm certain I do, or we do, if we just do an EP. But if we do a full LP, which is anything beyond about 10 numbers, then I might need to go back to writing a little bit more to flesh it out.
So when you write, is it just Roger, or do you bring the things to the band and start working on them, or lyrics?
It's a great question. More and more, I'm less and less of a control freak. In the past, it's been I sit down, I write the song, I give it to the band, then we record it.
Right.
But more and more, I've been more inclusive, more trusting of others' input and work, and understand that like being a control freak can be really limiting. So on the last few records, there's a lot more input from the players in the band. And on this particular record, there's a lot more input, and it's really liberating. They challenge my limitations in thinking. And at the same time, sometimes I need to stand firm on a certain music.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's in any case, I'm growing from it. So yeah, we're all collaborating more. And I think that just comes with me, quote unquote, maturing, or I hope so.
Yeah. We're all getting older at the same rate, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Can't fight it. Can't fight
My
it.
neighbor, who's my age, was riding a unicycle this morning. I couldn't believe it. What are you doing? He's like, staying young, brother.
Gotta do it. Gotta do it.
Yeah.
So, and you touched on this as a musician and a songwriter myself. I know how important it is to have the right band and the right players. And after you play together for a long time, you get tighter and tighter. So
yeah.
How has that worked out for you? How have you found the right guys? And you've played with these guys for a while, right? I mean, your drummer, obviously, from the beginning, but.
Yeah, goodness. PH joined the band in 95. Nick and Jim, who are respectively bass and guitar, they're over a decade with the outfit.
Oh, wow.
I forgot what the question was.
Oh, I just thought about getting the right players and how that's worked out, or just kind of, hey, I know this guy, let's try it out. And
I think everybody has to enjoy each other's company, both creatively and in regular life, because this band has lived on the road now for almost 30 years. And if you can't gel with somebody, it really makes the creative process, especially live, very difficult. You can't get up there and fake it. So everybody in this band seems to be grateful for where they are and what we have and the brotherhood we've created together. I think that's number one.
Okay.
But it's a really close second that everybody's super talented. And we all learn from each other musically. I get into a jam with these guys. I mean, literal jam. We jam.
Right.
And every single time, if I come out of a session, like, damn, I need to hone my chops because these guys are badasses. It's really cool to work with people who are beyond your equals, who are better than you as musicians. And that's their part, and I'm just struggling to keep up, and it's a pleasure.
Well, I've heard that in anything you do, whether it's golf or whatever, if you're playing with somebody better than you on guitar or on the golf course, you start playing better yourself.
I think so. Yeah. Your complacency doesn't have a place to rest. And so you're
right.
always walking uphill.
Awesome. Well, I know your songs, and obviously I've been listening to a lot more of your stuff the last couple of weeks, are super like relatable American life, I think. Kind of like Arizona Nights or Heaven on a Paper Plate, but there's a fun aspect to it. So, and we touched on this, I guess, but I guess I'm talking more about lyric writing. How do you come up with that? Do you sit down at the same time, or do you schedule it, or you just wait for the muse to show up, or what do you do?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
It's like, all of the above.
Whatever, it's, I'll sometimes wake up in the middle of the night and have to get up and hum into it's not a tape recorder anymore. It's a cell phone.
Yeah, right.
But if the muse whispers in any way, melody, cadence, idea, I have to capture it and follow it. So typically it doesn't matter when or where it comes from. I must capture it. I do a dishonor to the creative process, at least in my heart. Yeah. The other thing is sometimes I do really well with scheduling and sometimes I don't. If I had to, I do better with writing when I don't turn on my cell phone. So my schedule is usually wake up typically kind of early, 6, which is not very rock and roll. So don't tell anybody.
Maybe
and
not
then work
for a
till
show.
I'm exhausted. And I don't turn on my cell phone until noon or 2, and then I'll check the daily news, grab a walk, and then come back to see what distilled during that session, and go from there. And sometimes I'm lucky and it's good, and sometimes I find what I thought was good really sucks.
Yeah.
But it's just part of the process.
Boy, I love when you come up with an idea, and there's these times where you just want to listen to it like 10, 15 times over and over, like, damn, that was good. I can't wait to record it with the band,
And then sometimes when you do that, you go, ooh, that's not working out. I remember specifically one time in Mexico, I was sitting down with Jim, our guitarist, and we'd spent a couple of days writing. There was one day we thought we were on a roll, and just kind of broke for a second. Had a beer on either side of the patio and sat back down on the couch, played the song we were working on together. He goes, "Bro, what do you think?" No, he goes, what do you feel? I'm like, nothing. Goes, what do you think? I was like, I don't think it's a good song. And we had to completely scrap it. But we were unanimous. We thought this thing was going to be really good. Take a break, grab a beer, remember your parts, sit back, record it, and then listen to the recording. And we were, that sucks. But that's just part of it. You gotta, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good.
Oh yeah, you gotta keep writing, and then it's nice when you have the option to, if you have more songs than what you need or whatever. It's just nice to be able to pick and choose. Like, okay, this one's really good. There might always be,
or there might be a part of a song that's not a good song that's really good. That you go, you know what? I like that B section, so we're gonna just clip that, hang on to it, and work on it as the next bass line.
Now, this is always the thing that I've heard different songwriters say. They're like, I worked on this, like the verse and chorus came to me like boom in like 10 minutes.
Yep.
And then they're like, I had the song for like a year or two, and then finally went back to it. I can't do that. I forget about things. I have to write the song then, and if it doesn't happen, then I don't do it. How do you approach that?
I like to chase down the idea, but if it outruns me, so be it, and I let it go. But I at least have an idea of where it went, i.e. I record it, right? But I've had songs, and I usually will be lucky enough to find it later, and then maybe my experience or my inspiration will fill out the parts that I needed to fill out. I've taken up to 4 years to complete songs before, maybe even 5. Yeah. For example, on Native Heart, a song called Sunday Drivin' was given to me basically complete by PH and Nick. And they handed it to me, and I loved the feel of it. It was very dreamy, and it felt like, it felt like a dream. And everything I put to it wasn't working. So I let it go for 3-4 years, revisiting from time to time. And I was actually on my way down to Mexico to sit, sequester, and write, when on the highway, it almost came like a light bulb. I was like, hold on, I got this. It was a Sunday. I was Sunday driving.
Oh, boom.
It's not literally Sunday driving, but I was literally Sunday driving.
It could be.
That was a 4-year-old. That was a 4-year endeavor to flesh that one out.
Awesome. So where else do you get inspiration? What about artists? Whether it's art like behind you with your logo, or are you an artist? But who inspires you? Where do you get inspiration for songs or whatever?
Lordy, I lean a lot, like there's so many amazing musicians out there, and I do lean a lot sort of on my past. I was a punk rock kid that grew up on a ranch, and so that's kind of a weird inception. Right. But everything from Sons of the Pioneers to Lords of the New Church or the Pretenders, Blondie, Talking Heads, and that's that era. Right. Move fast forward to not very far forward, but Violent Femmes. They Might Be Giants, Camper Van Benjamin Cracker.
Yeah. Love Cracker.
Just that's sort of where I started, but I also love the visionaries. Bob Marley is in there for me as a true human. And I listen to his message and hope that I can channel it from time to time. Kind of comes from everywhere. I loved Art Brut when they came out. That was so cool. Other experimental things, I don't know. There's just a lot of it. I'm a perennial Spoon fan. They Carry On. It really can come from anywhere. I do listen to a lot of like the new, what do they call it? Sort of red dirt Texas emergent stuff that is subverting what country became, as country became this cotton candy, junk food stuff. There's a lot of good stuff going on in there. It kind of, anywhere I can find it, I dig it.
Yeah,
my daughter's been playing me some dub stuff lately.
There you go. That's always That's a great place to get new music from your kids. It's like, hey,
oh my gosh, yeah,
they're playing my show.
yeah, right on.
So, do you have some advice for aspiring songwriters?
Yeah, get your ass on the couch.
Just start
That's
doing
my
it.
advice. Just sit down and do it.
Do it.
It doesn't matter how much you get every day. Just sit down. And that advice I'm giving right now because I need to follow it. I need to sit down and, like I said earlier about EP versus LP coming up. Like, if I want an LP, I got to sit my ass down. So apply ass to couch.
Right. Good words. Good word. I talked to the last interview I did. He schedules it every day, and he just writes. And Jeff Tweedy from Wilco, same thing. He just writes every day, and I just need to take some of that advice myself. It's like,
yep,
guys, let's get busy.
Leonard Cohen said it too. You know, he's like, the more you do, the harder it gets. And thank God he said that, because I've got 128 songs in my catalog, and like now it takes more effort to complete something now, because I've touched on a lot of subjects, right? And my habits are well ingrained, and so you have to find places where you can break through that, whether it's a chord progression or a melody or a series of long rests in a composition. You got to challenge yourself, and then later you have to go back and ask yourself if it was any good. So it takes longer for me now, and I'm glad that Cohen said that, because he's a master.
Well, it's the same thing. Like the older you get, the less you know. You know?
This is a true maxim.
It was. Everybody in their 20s thinks they know everything. It's like, dude, you don't have a clue.
But you can't say that to somebody in their 20s.
No, you can't, but I might. But
maybe good luck.
Maybe it's just your own kids. We'll see.
Anyway, the audacity of youth is real power, though. I mean, there's some real cool shit that happens when you believe that you are truly immortal.
Well, that's true. You're invincible.
Yeah, you can do there's some cool shit that happens.
You're invincible until you're not. It's just kind of the way it works. So
yeah.
So how have you been able to stay independent all these years?
I think it's a connection with the fan base, because we take our art, our craft, our entertainment very seriously. We never phone in a performance.
Right.
We're out there still. We used to tour 240 days a year as youngsters, and now we're still out there between 150 and 180.
Dang.
Working and sharing the celebration of life with a fan base that wants to listen and participate. And I think that work ethic and honesty is the tip of the spear. Yeah.
Yeah. What other, I know obviously you're huge here in your home state. Where else do you have a really good fan base?
The words really good need qualification. We have a fucking great fan base everywhere. The density of that fan base may vary.
Right.
But anywhere we go, any city, Murfreesboro, there's going to be people there in that hall, that little pub.
Right.
I don't like to focus on the quantity of the fans, but the quality of the community. So, no, I'm not being evasive. The only way we've been able to do this for almost 30 years is that anywhere we go, we can at least break even. So
that's important.
Yeah, no matter where we go, no matter how expensive it is to get to Bangor, Maine, the folks will fill up the hall. We can buy our hotels and gas and get to the next place. And little by little, we just keep going.
That's awesome. I mean, because that can get tiring after a while when you're doing it yourself and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, there's no sponsors, there's no record label. It's just the band and the community of the fans. And so it's been working for a long time. It's almost unbelievable that it's
right.
And I'm grateful.
I mean, all those bands that you talked about that inspired you in the 80s and 90s, most of them are gone. You know?
A lot of them carry on, I think, with the same work ethic. Yeah. Like the Violent Femmes are still doing it, 30-year anniversary of their first record. I know I'm a huge fan of They Might Be Giants. There are a lot of them that have gone that we toured with in the 90s. But there are a few iconic ones that remain. I was listening to an interview with Michael Stipe the other day.
Okay.
And what a cool career that guy forged, you know? And the band went, okay, we've done it. This is our mission. We've accomplished it. And we've been a American rock and roll band for 30 years or more. and then they just laid it down, but they're all still creative. Anyway, I really admire their work, and I've been a fan since I was 15, 14 years old.
Oh, totally. When you couldn't understand any words, it was just all mumbling.
I know, and that was by design. He didn't consider himself a lyricist. He wanted to be evocative in sound, but he didn't consider himself a lyricist. He had to grow into that. Yeah, it was really cool.
Another part of the band, an instrument. So, yeah. So tell me how it feels to be in the Arizona Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
It feels great. It's really cool. That was a moment I didn't expect at all, and we were inducted with friends that we grew up with in the clubs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Dead Out Workshop with Pistoleros. Long Wongs. I cut my teeth there. It was super cool. And Nick, he was the band clown, the class clown.
Okay.
We went on tour right after our induction, and he would come out of the back bunks, just be like, "All right, Hall of Famer coming through, Hall of Famer." So it just feels great. It's an amazing honor, and I wish the Arizona Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame got a little bit more attention, but they're solid. They're stalwart in Arizona. It was really cool.
I mean, there's a ton of great music.
Hall of Famer signing off.
No more.
Kidding. No,
Look at the hand. Look at the hand. So there's your logo behind you. Did you come up with that? Because I love that logo.
Yes and no. Thank you. It's a composition that was pre-existent and also one we sort of modified. It exists in Native American lore, almost like that, but we didn't want to purloin it. So we developed it. It's essentially in the Arizona lexicon or prehistoric lexicon, the Native lexicon. It's about emergence and becoming. And so it's always in motion and never complete, but perpetual. Anyway, so yeah, we found that exists. If you look around in a lot of Native American art, especially in the Southwest, you'll find something similar. We didn't want to steal it, but we wanted to honor it. So
yeah, absolutely.
We chose.
Very nice. And your tequila. How did you get involved with that?
I've been involved with tequila for way too long, since I was a kid.
Well, the business end of it, anyway.
Right. I had my first sip behind the barn at the Clyne Ranch when I was like 11 years old, working with vaqueros there. We were just taking a break. They pulled a bottle out of a saddlebag and a couple of cigarettes. And I was a kid, and they were helping us. They just passed it to me and a cigarette.
There you go.
Yeah, kid. Anyway, fell in love with it then. The biz. Since it was a character almost, a personality in a lot of our songs, it just was naturally the spirit of choice at gigs. Yeah. And the band would order and drink it in massive quantities, and so would the audience. And it just evolved really naturally from actually one distillery way back in the day asking us if we would endorse a brand, but we wouldn't have any say in how it was expressed.
Right.
We said no with that. And then later on, it took a long time, decades, but we found a distillery ourselves, and they wanted to participate with us in the artistic expression of tequila, and we're still with them. And it's really difficult business.
Is it?
When we started, no, my Lord, we're another indie brand, or we're an indie brand and an indie band. We started, and there were 30 tequilas on any given liquor store shelves, and now you look at there's hundreds, and most of those have a lot of money behind them. But we're firmly planted where we want to be. It's
awesome. Quality
before quantity, and it's the spirit we created and we want to share, and that's where we are. We stand by it. So Cancion Tequila is our little. It's not a pet project. It's our passion.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll have some of that at the Orpheum on next.
If I see you backstage, I'll be armed with it. It'll be good.
So you were just.
But the brouhaha is actually happening, I believe, right inside the Orpheum. So everybody that comes to the show, I do hope we all pace ourselves, because there's going to be a lot of amazing brews. And
it starts pretty early and it goes all day, and then there's like a 2-hour break or something like that. I don't know if that's.
They let people pass out or like get hammocks? What's up?
I don't know if they have
Anyway,
beds.
we never play less than 90 minutes unless it's like an opening set. So everybody plan on 90 minutes to 2 hours or even more. And it's high altitude, so
We're used to that.
pace
So
yourselves.
you got to
Cool.
pace yourself for that for sure.
True story. I do.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anything else you want to cover off before? So I'd love to hear some. You gonna play any new music on next weekend?
It's funny. We've been in the studio and we've recorded, I don't know how many, 8, 9 songs. And I try to keep getting the band to we want to do these songs, but we never rehearse, and everybody's been everywhere for the holidays. And so I'll put forth like, let's practice song X, Y, or Z at sound check on, for example, at the Orpheum. And we always arrive and everybody looks at each other like we don't want to be challenged with having to know it.
We don't want to.
But we haven't really put a deadline on it. I hope so.
That'd be cool.
I can encourage my band and myself to be motivated enough to play new music. But typically, we got to get together for a week and learn the songs. Here's the irony. You got to learn the songs to where you don't think about them anymore.
For sure.
To where it's just, you're not in front of yourself. You're just zen in the songs, and then the performance is good. If we're thinking about it, it's a mess. So you got to get past thinking and just feel the songs. And so I think we need more time with them.
Okay. Yeah, but overthinking anything can really just kind of
think about your golf swing too much. Forget it.
Yeah, no way, man. You just got to have a shot of Cancion and go for it.
Appreciate that push right there.
Well, dude, so good to connect, and look forward to hopefully connecting with you at the show next Saturday at the Orpheum Brouhaha. And I'll be playing this on my radio show next Thursday, and then I'll release the video on the Eclectic Mix with Steve just on Facebook and then on YouTube. But wish you guys the best. And,
thank you.
Thanks for connecting. And
it was a pleasure.
Yeah, dude.
Cool. Well, happy holidays. I know it comes a little after they've passed, but every day's a holiday. So I'll see you at the Brouhaha, and I'll try to have some. Well, there'll be Cancion backstage, so I'll see you there.
We'll see you then, buddy. Take it easy.
Care. Be with you.
Bye.